Okay, so we're going to go ahead and circle back to our lesson on um, aliasing because we covered a slide that talked about testing objects for equality. And when we were learning about aliasing, we said if bishop 1 and bishop 2, and we use the double equal signs, and if they are aliases of each other, this statement will be true. If bishop 1 and bishop 2 are not aliases of each other, that statement will be false. So for objects, checking for equality is different than checking for equality for things like integers. So we do something special for objects, and that is to use the dot equals method. So if I want to know if bishop 1 is exactly equal to bishop 2, I have to use this method. When we talked about this in class, we circled back to the Java API, and I want to go there for a minute again as a review. So in the Java API, if I go to java.lang and I look up the object class, we talked about the object class being the root of all other objects. In other words, all classes we create or that have been created for us are all children of this object class. And in the object class, if we scroll down, we see that there is an equals method that has been coded for us. Now, there's definitely a few things to make note of. The return type, which is a Boolean, and then the format of the method. The method takes one parameter, and that parameter is an object. And since all objects come from the object family, that's why we use that inside of the parentheses. So I'm going to jump to my camera momentarily, and we're going to look at one of the first things, one of the first things that's important for us when we're dealing with the equals method, and that is to know the equals method header. You need to know this for your next test, like it's your job. So from the Java API, we know that this is something that we're going to want to make public. And from the API, we see that, let me move this, maybe I could do something like this. Let's do like a side-by-side thing. I have so many windows open right now. That's okay. And then I'm gonna make that smaller. All right, so here we are. So now I know my return type is Boolean. My method is called equals. And inside the parameters that I'm sending the method, I'm going to put object, and then this is just a reference variable, but the Java norm is to call that object using a reference name obj. So that's super important. If we do not code an equals method for a class for an object, and we run that and check to see if two are equal to each other, we are going to get Java garbage. So what I want you to do, first things first, and sadly I can't really demo this for you very well because my Java's not working on my computer, but you have the die class right now. So I want everybody to type a quick driver program. I'm going to switch to my notepad, then it won't do correction. Whatever you want, it's not that important. So I'm going to make my font large enough so everybody can see. Let's do that. Okay, so public class, I'll call it die underscore equals. So public static void main string cards. All I want you to do in here is make two die objects. Die1 is a new die. And then make a second object. Die2 is, again, just a plain old six-sided die. Now, I want to check these two dice for equality. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to use the equals method. So I want you to say, let's put a comment in, using default equals method from die class or from object class. And then I'm going to create a Boolean variable that is ANS equals. In order for us to call the equals method, I have to take one of the die objects, and I'll say die1. Die1 is calling an equals method, and I have to send the equals method an object. The other object I'm going to send it is called die2. And then we're going to want to print a message. So we're going to print something that says equals from the object class, and we're going to concatenate that with ANS. Now, if you could please save that and compile it and run it. And let's look at what you get. It's got to be in the same folder as the die class. You got to save it. Oh, okay. I know what happened. So are they aliases of each other? Oh yeah, that's what happened. So if we don't define our, I better not talk smaller than that, my desk. So when you run this program, it tells you that the answer is false. That's because in the object class, if you use the default equals method from the object class, it's just checking to see if those two die are aliases of each other. So now what we're going to do, and I'm going to prove that to you. So we're going to put another comment in, and we're going to say make die1 and die2 aliases, then recheck. Yes, so we're going to say die1 equals die2. So it appears I have to end my video, and then I have to restart. I can restart.